Hello, everybody. Uh, we warmly welcome you all to another wonderful podcast here. So, today we have a very special guest. So, I'm Sanjivana, and we do many podcasts like this and speak with so many wonderful people who are very inspiring and who are trying to help many people in the world. So, uh, going back to this very special guest, her name is Joanna Underwood. So, she's from UK, and she's a pyrography artist, which we will definitely dig into and learn about it. And she wants to help many people. So, Joanna, would you please like to uh, do a brief introduction about yourself?
Oh yeah, hello. Um, so my name's Joanna. I live in Cornwall in the UK. I'm very lucky to live there. It's beautiful by the
Mhm,
sea. It's very nice. Weather could be warmer, but it's nice. Um, I have my daughter living back home with me. She came
mhm,
back in December. She's 22, and I am a pyrography artist, which is, if you've not heard of it, it is drawing or writing with fire.
mhm.
So that's what I currently do. It's not what I've always done, but it's what I do now and have done for the past 5 years. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. Longer as a hobby, but
Uh-huh. Oh, so nice. So, uh, we met on LinkedIn, and then in her profile it says like creating happy art influenced by the sea and countryside. Uh,
that's right, because there's both here. It's a beautiful place to live. Um, my parents moved here when I was 19, but I had left home and was not coming with them. But
uh-huh.
when I was just gone 30, I brought my daughter here and I'm so happy I did. It's such a lovely place to live.
Mhm.
Um, and the sea is right here. And so is beautiful countryside, woodlands, open fields. So very fortunate. And I just find being around nature and especially being by the sea just inspiring and very relaxing and good for the soul. So
Uh-huh. Oh, so you
yeah,
spend a lot of time in nature and all?
I do. I don't spend as much as I'd like to, but
Uh-huh.
I do get out as much as I can. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Do.
Yeah. So, is it all right, Joanna? Like, if we ask, like, what are you up to these days?
Yeah. So like I said, my daughter come back in
Mhm.
December. She's 22. I think I'll probably get into a bit more about that later,
Okay.
but I'm busy helping and supporting her. That's it in private. I have a lovely husband who
Mhm.
hopefully I'm a good wife to. And so that's my private life and my professional side. I'm in the middle of creating a pretty large piece on a beautiful piece of willow. And it's going to take me a while. It's a large piece of wood. It took me
Mhm.
a while just to sand it down and get it ready.
Oh,
So like I have started on it, but it's going to take me a while. So it doesn't need to be ready till May. I've got a bit of time to do it. But that's what I'm working on here. And obviously I'm trying to um I'm new to LinkedIn, so I'm getting used to that. And so
okay.
far it's just a lovely positive experience. I'm really happy.
Uh-huh. So you have been doing this for a long time, right? Pyrography art.
Yeah, I went to an act. Took my daughter when she was, I think she was 10, maybe
Uh-huh.
9. I took her to an activity holiday, and one of the activities was pyrography. And we did it on our first day, and I absolutely loved it. And then all I wanted to do all week was go and
Mhm.
do pyrography. But obviously, with a young child, you just can't do the same thing all the time. So I didn't. But I bought a pyrography kit as soon as I got home. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I've never stopped.
Uh-huh.
I find it very therapeutic. It's a lovely
Uh-huh.
thing to do.
Could you please explain to us more what is this and then how it's done?
I can show you if you like.
Yeah.
I've got
Uh-huh.
this is this I don't know whether you can see that,
Yeah,
but
we
that
can see.
there and it's electric. So
Highlight
it's
tray.
It's
Uh-huh.
attached to a unit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I use that. Now the nibs on this you can change. So this one there
Uh-huh.
looks a bit like a spoon.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's for shading, but I also have very, very
Fine.
fine nibbed ones for detail works, and you can interchange them. And then you literally draw on wood with those nibs while they're hot, and then you produce work like what can I show you? Like this. This is something
Oh.
I did.
Uh-huh. So this is just
And
wood and after
well,
burning that
yeah, I have added a little bit of watercolor, but the major
watercolor.
all of this
Uh-huh.
here, all of the detail is all done using
Amazing.
that pen that I showed
Uh-huh.
you. But that's a small one, but this the next one is huge.
Huge. Uh-huh. So it's kind of like artist drawing on a canvas, but you draw on maybe a piece of wood or a plank of wood with this
That's
special
right.
equipment, right?
Yes, that's right.
Uh-huh. And so this is your paintbrush, no? Kind of.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, to begin with, they used to use reflection of the sun, to burn
Yeah.
onto wood like you would start a fire.
Uh-huh.
They used to
Before
use
they
it
used to
like
use
very
the
early.
sun, like
Mhm.
wow.
I've never tried it. I do want to, but
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'll be very good at it.
Sure. And then that means like even if you get a paintbrush, you can do so many things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, surely, right? Even a pencil or no, any tool, no? Like
Yeah, no, and there's many different ends that you can use that have
uh-huh.
many different effects. So I tend to use the spoon one that I showed you and a
Mhm.
very fine one. Hold on.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh, it's very, very fine.
Uh-huh.
It's
So this heats up, right?
does.
Like a hot plate or something, no?
Yes, exactly that. And
Uh,
it can get so hot that it glows red. Actually, that's not great. You don't really want to use it when it's glowing, but it
uh-huh.
it can get really, really warm.
Mhm. And how does it go to the density or like the deep depth of the wood?
It's pressure. So if if you do it very, very lightly, you'll get a very fine light line. It's also how quick you pull the pen across the wood. You can't use it like a pencil, so you can't just draw a line like
Hmm.
this because it
Okay.
will be dark light. It won't be
Hmm.
consistent. So you have to use lots of little marks on the wood, and it does take quite a long
Yeah,
time.
it's great. I was thinking like because if you draw a pencil mark, maybe you can erase it or do something about it. But here, it's very less chance of like recovery even, right?
Yeah, you take a deep breath and you hope for the best.
Ah, and you need a lot of concentration, focus, a
I think
calm
that's where
mind.
the therapy comes from because you're focused.
Uh-huh.
You can't think about anything else. So I can, when I'm doing it, I can only think about what I'm doing, and all other thoughts, they're gone. That I don't have, I'm not able to. I do, however, have to have something on in the background,
Uh-huh.
a podcast or music or something.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I get too nervous.
Okay.
As
Uh-huh.
it goes along, I just get too nervous. I have to stop. So I have to have some kind of, slight distraction in the background, but I'm not really listening to it. It's just
Uh-huh.
there.
Like a background, uh, like a background music owner.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. So very nice. So, uh, are you using this for helping other people also now, Joanna? Like as therapy or therapeutical purposes?
I don't teach it,
Uh-huh.
um, just purely for practical reasons. You have to have a lot of units, they're expensive, and
Uh-huh.
also it needs to be well ventilated. You can't
Uh-huh.
just do it in a room with, a window open because if you do it for too long, it can make you feel ill if you don't have the right ventilation. And
Uh-huh.
and you're working with a hot tool, so I don't particularly want to, you know, anyone to get hurt. So I don't choose not to. Some people do, but I don't.
Mhm.
But I do try to help others with what I produce. So I like to
Mhm.
do happy art. So
Mhm.
things that when you see them, make you smile.
Right.
It's a very almost subconscious way of
Mhm.
having just that little hit of happiness in your day when you're walking around and you sort of catch your eye on something that you really like, you enjoy seeing, it means something to you, and then without you even trying, you get a little lift, a little uplifting part of your day. And I like
Oh.
to try to do that with my
Mhm.
art. So all of the things I produce, I try and make fit that bill. Well, for me, it's personal, but for me anyway.
Mhm. So people request to you like, hey, we want something like this, like that.
I don't do that because I get too
Uh-huh.
nervous.
Uh-huh.
So when somebody, what I have done in the past, and well, I say I don't do it, and then somebody asks me, and I do it, but I try not to do it.
It's
Try
a
not to do it because of the pressure, and also because what
uh-huh.
someone thinks of in their mind,
Uh-huh.
I may not produce how
Okay.
they had thought they had wanted it in their mind. So
Yeah.
I'm I feel the pressure of those custom ones, and I don't do that one.
Okay. So these are your own creations, right?
Yeah, they are. They're all pretty much from when I've been out and about and something I've seen, so
Mhm.
that has caught my eye, that has like usually an animal, or so I've
Mhm.
got a curious sheep that I come across on a walk that I
Mhm.
absolutely loved. I fell in love with a cow that had a heart on its head in the middle.
Oh.
That was the only marking, just one heart on its head.
Uh-huh.
And I loved that cow. So
Uh-huh.
as soon as I saw that cow, I thought this is going to be a piece.
Please. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So people can see your collection, or like they can see your creations like you.
They can.
They can, no?
Yeah, I have a website. So
Okay. Okay.
I think it's on LinkedIn in a little link
Uh-huh.
thing at the
Definitely,
top.
we'll put your details and where people can reach you in the video as well as the post. So they can see your beautiful artwork,
You
no?
can also sign up. I do a newsletter. I do it once. I try to do it once a month. And
Uh-huh.
but if you do that, I've committed to donating to a local mental health charity every time somebody signs up to that newsletter. So there's a charity called Pentreath, and it's a mental health charity,
Oh,
and they do really great work.
okay.
So I donate. It's just 10p each time, but it
Mhm.
mounts up, and
Yeah,
I
no?
wanted to do something. I wanted to give something back.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow, that's a great cause. Uh, so, Joanna, can you tell about, if you are comfortable, please tell about your life's journey.
Okay, well, if I go on too long,
No,
please
no, no
stop me.
problem, no problem. It would be great to listen to some person's life's experience. We have so much to learn from each other people, no?
Yeah, I don't know how interesting man is, but we'll have a go. Right. Okay. So I was born in 1977 in Cheshire, which is a beautiful place. And I lived with my family, my parents, and my sisters, and I had a lovely childhood. And then when I was 15, I was quite a conscientious child, very busy, creative, sporty, and I tried quite hard to do well in everything that I did. I started to feel the pressure of that. And I ended up having an admission at 15 into a psychiatric hospital,
Mhm.
um, and then followed by a young person's unit. It was quite a lengthy stay with bipolar.
Okay.
And then I did manage to get back to school. So the following year, I went back to school. I completed my exams. I went on to do A levels. Um, but over the next 10 years or so from 15 to 25, I think I had about 4 or 5 admissions. Um, I did learn more each time. I learned more about the illness. I learned more about myself. I learned more about how to manage it. Um, and then when I was 25, I was engaged. I got pregnant.
Oh,
Um, we are going back 21 and a bit years now,
mhm,
and there wasn't the awareness that there is now. It is getting better, but at that time, I was just told, "Come off all your medication, and good luck." Well, I was very, very ill, and that was my last and most lengthy stay in hospital,
mhm,
and I had a miracle baby because I was so poorly to have managed to carry her, and the day that she was born, just a healthy little baby,
oh,
was just
uh-huh,
amazing, and it was an amazing gift,
oh,
and so that was that, and from then, I really wanted to be her mum. I wanted to be somebody she relied on and that cared for her,
mhm,
and and I have tried my very best to do that for her. And we moved here when I was just gone 30,
mhm,
and she was, when she was growing up, a surfer dudess. She loved the surfing. She was a singer, very confident
mhm,
child. And I had to wait a while to meet my soulmate. So when I was 42,
mhm,
I met my now husband,
uh-huh,
and he well, I didn't think there was one person,
mhm,
but he is my person.
oh,
But
wonderful.
I feel very fortunate to
Oh,
have
yeah.
met him, and I'm more than happy to have waited till I was 42 to do that. So yeah, I'm very, very fortunate. We got married in COVID. So we had a very small wedding the day before. We weren't sure it was going to go ahead, but it did. And we had the most beautiful sunny day in September. And it was
Mhm.
just a magical day. And my daughter's a singer, and she sang for our first
Oh.
song. And it was stunning. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I
Oh.
think that's pretty much my like potted history.
Uh-huh.
So feel free to ask me anything you like, because I do like to um try to help people with the
Right.
experiences that I've gone through if I can.
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, one thing I would like to ask, like, surely, like you talked about the time when you had difficulties or obstacles. Uh, so, can you please tell how it was? So, I'm not trying to make things difficult or anything like that, but you have come out of it, right? And now here you are with this lovely family and all these things, and you're trying to help more people also. So, it's a great victory, no? So, if you, because there are
Oh,
people like that, sorry?
I'm not sure I'm that confident about that. I think I've learned along the way to manage it. Like whether I've conquered it, I'm
Uh-huh.
not sure.
No, no, it's
I
okay.
mean,
Uh-huh.
but I do think for me, well, just becoming a mum personally for me helped me enormously, um, because it was really important at that point. And
Mhm,
prior to that, it was just me. So I didn't feel, quite like I was as important before.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, no, I think the obstacle is living with a brain that has chemicals that work in a different way to most,
mhm,
and learning to manage that. Like
mhm,
if you ask me, would I prefer not to have bipolar, I will say no. And I think I would have said no most of the time. I feel like it's made me the kind of person that I prefer to be, rather than had I not had it. Um, I think it helps me to have empathy and to be more
mhm,
understanding. And I have met so many different people um, on, throughout my life, and heard so many stories. And I, it has helped. It has helped more than it has hindered. But there have been obstacles, and it has limited me at times.
Mhm.
I did try to go to university. That wasn't for me, that way of learning, and that
Mhm.
I lasted 6 weeks and I came home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and like in my career as in retail, which was what I did previously to
Mhm.
pyrography, I did find I reached a level where the stress, if I'd have continued, I wouldn't have been able to manage that. So I have had to have some kind of acceptance that for me with anxiety and bipolar, I have limitations,
Mhm.
but I don't feel limited. But I don't feel my life is worse for it. I think
Sure,
it's
sure.
better.
Uh-huh. And Joanna, like we usually hear like bipolar kind of symptoms, usually in adults, no? So usually people talk or like they talk about people that we don't hear much about children, no? With
I was very young. I think
yeah,
15 is very young.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, no?
it can happen earlier, but 15 is on the young side
Mm, yeah,
for
yeah.
first time to be diagnosed, I think, with bipolar. Um, but my daughter also has bipolar. She
Uh-huh.
was 18, and you would think, being a mother with bipolar, that I would be able to spot this, and
Uh-huh.
I did not. She was the last person I would have expected
Mhm, mhm,
to go down this road,
mhm,
because she was so confident and so bubbly and vivacious and full of life. And she was a singer. She was like, the world was her oyster, and she was so full of it, so full of
mhm,
life.
mhm,
And I had tried so hard to instill so much confidence into her, so that when the life knocks it out, there's still a bit left. That was my
mhm,
my theory. And then out of the blue, pretty much within 3 months, it just hit, and that was the worst point of my life. That it
mhm,
was
mhm,
really traumatic.
mhm,
It was dreadful. She come through it, but she was very, very poorly. She had psychosis as well, and
mhm,
and that was in COVID, and it was a tough time. It was.
mhm. So how did you spot the differentiations maybe later on even in your daughter especially? Like how did you spot it, Joanna?
It came on very quickly. So she had some troubles. She and she wasn't enjoying COVID and lockdown and
Yeah.
all of that type of thing. She started to get tics, and we took her to the doctors, and we knew there was something wrong, but then
Mhm,
very suddenly it went from something not wrong and she wasn't happy to psychosis, and it was instantaneous. She walked
mhm.
up the stairs not in psychosis, and she came down the stairs in psychosis. It was that
Uh-huh.
sudden. I'm not laughing because it's funny at
Sure,
all in
sure.
any way,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but it was and from that moment, she was, well, she actually ran away, and we ran after her, and
Mhm,
that day ended in her being put into a hospital, and we didn't see her for
mhm,
6 weeks. She was in an isolation room for 6 weeks in a hospital, and then 8 weeks she come home. But then that kid is, I am proud. She is so brave, and she come out, she got better, she went back to work, she tried to go to university, had a similar experience to my own, and that
mhm,
didn't work. She come back, she goes to work. She is tough, she's resilient,
mhm,
and just I'm proud. I'm a proud
mhm.
mother. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
get I get emotional. But
No, no, this is
yeah,
great.
no,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
does
yeah.
good.
So the next question I want to ask is like, yeah, the successes in life. So this is definitely one, no? Like how you helped your daughter to come out of this. You yourself came out, and then you helped your daughter also, no? So
I think it's still a um of course, yes, but she's at the beginning of her journey, so she's 4 years in, and I
Mhm.
do believe it takes time
Takes time.
to learn how to manage
Mhm.
this illness, and it is something that it does take time, and I personally believe it takes quite a lot of time, and then things get pushed in all through your life that you're not expecting. For me now, um, I am I'm of the age, I am menopausal,
Mhm.
and menopause has caused me really, like, it's been tough, and it is tough, and it's tough being somebody, a woman with bipolar, going through a hormonal change is difficult. You know, it's recognized now when you're pregnant, you've just had a baby, it's recognized you need extra help. It's recognized when you're a teenager, but it isn't necessarily recognized yet at perimenopause and menopause. It will be. And I am quite vocal about it because I feel
Oh, you
like this is how change happens when
happens.
people talk. So I do talk about it, but at the moment, there's no research, very, very little. There's very little,
Uh-huh.
and there's very little awareness about it as well. But if you are a woman and you have a long-term mental health problem and you go towards menopause, it is going to be, or it could be difficult for you. It could
Mhm.
be, and it has been for me. So even though um, I've learned a lot along the way. I think new things come in that you have to deal with as well. And I'm having to deal with this, and I still am, like anxiety is high, and there are lots of other mood fluctuations are back, which I didn't think would be, and it comes again. So yes, there's a learning curve, but it's ongoing. I think
Mhm.
it's going to be ongoing with me throughout my life because it's just part of me. I have chemicals in my brain that just don't work the same, but it's not all bad. It really is not all bad. I get to feel things very deeply. I get to think a humongous amount of thoughts, probably not all great ones. Not definitely not intelligent ones, but I get lots of ideas, I get lots
Sure,
of
sure.
thoughts. I get to be creative. It's quite
Creative,
a
huh?
big link. Um, but it's a lifelong, not a battle, but it's just a
Mhm.
lifelong
Uh,
thing. And it's the same for my daughter. She's still learning.
uh-huh. And Joanna, like even people like within their life's journey, for example, if a mother gets pregnant, no, it's a very not an easy thing, no, for any lady, right? And it takes a toll on the physicality as well as mentality, no? And when you have
Yeah.
children, and then when you go through different stages in life, like or some people, even in males and females, they talk about a midlife situation or a crisis they call, right? Or in ladies as menopause, no? So in when you talk about any individual, this happens, right?
Yes, that's right.
uh, so each one of these people have to go through these situations in life, right?
They do.
Uh-huh. So you did research also about like ways of find like how to say like traditional medicines or methods of countering bipolar? I'm just curious, eh?
I haven't. I purely because I was thinking about this actually, obviously knowing I was going to be talking to you, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, I do believe there are natural medicines and
Mhm.
different ways of
Mhm.
of combating chemicals that are going a bit awry in your brain, and I'm sure that there are, but for me, it's a difficult one because when you first find out that you have a mental illness,
Mhm.
you're in a crisis. This
Mhm.
is when you discover it, and you do not have time to
Yeah.
try try lots of different things to see what works, because you are at risk,
That's
and at that point you're going to be offered, well, not even offered, you're going to be given medication,
mm,
and then that does help, and it makes it better. And then it's difficult because you don't want to remove the thing that's
Mm.
helped you and
Help you.
and helped you to recover.
Yeah.
But when you try to add in anything that isn't your standard medication, your
Mhm.
approved medication, there's no solid advice out there really to tell you
Mhm.
whether what it will do
Mhm.
um, to the chemicals that aren't working, and how it will help or not. How will it interact with the medication that you're already taking? And it's tricky to go from one to the other
Mhm.
without putting yourself at risk again of another episode.
Mhm.
So it's almost like you start off on the road of conventional medication,
Mhm.
and then you're just on that treadmill really,
Mhm.
because to move outside of it is to take a risk that you may not want to take. Some people may do that, but
Mhm.
for me, I didn't want to take that
Mhm.
risk, of
Okay.
getting poorly.
Yeah. Uh, because he also, now that person had passed away, there was it was like a Ayurvedic practitioner, Ayurveda, and this person actually had like a traditional hospital for people with psychological disabilities. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I sent a friend of mine also who was going through a lot of things, and he also had bipolar. So I
Yeah.
know people who have or have and had bipolar also. So then this friend also has this, and so I actually sent this person to meet that. It was some years ago, and this person actually went and got treatment also for. But unfortunately, that person who was the doctor of that Ayurvedic practice passed away. So yeah, yeah, like I'm just telling, no, like uh, yeah, since you are like trying to, yeah, I clearly understand, because it's like you fall down or something, no, and
Yeah.
if you faint or if you're unconscious, you don't do research, right? Or somebody takes you to the hospital, no, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
yeah, no, you never know. You don't go to the computer or someplace and start research. What if I fall down or something, no? So
Yeah,
what?
I completely agree
Uh,
with you, and I do believe that there are natural ways of
mhm.
combating this. I just it, well, for me at least, I didn't get that chance, because
Okay.
I was already not well, and when you're not well, it's really not the time to be trying to learn anything at all.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I get you. I understand what you mean. So, and my friend, I soon as I met him after he was a school friend, and I met him like after me, and first when I saw him, I was surprised. No, I didn't know he was sick also at that time. But uh, then his hand was shaking. It was like a
Yeah.
truck or a bus coming to onto his face. No, his eyes were wide open, and he was like his words was not clear.
Hmm.
And then I asked like, what happened to you? No, he said like I was hospitalized. Then he told it was he had a history of it. So then I just checked, and then there are like side effects and all these things, no? And luckily,
Yes.
I said, come on, let's go. And then luckily, there was another friend of ours in school time friend who was like uh, uh, in charge of a psychiatric unit in the hospital. So we went to meet him actually. And then when we told about this and the handshaking and everything, then he actually, I asked like, can you help us or can you do something about it? And he actually reduced the medication dosages, and his friend, the symptoms or the side effects started reducing. Then he
Yeah.
went to meet a counselor, and then he gave like alternatives for medicines or like practices to do. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm just telling what happened. So yeah, yeah, and I know, and I was taking care of some people also who were having psychiatric disabilities. And yeah, it's not easy, and many things happened also. Uh, and yeah, so since you are helping your daughter now, you like we can, and you are ready to help many people. We can see like many ways of helping people also, no?
Oh, definitely. I had 2 years where I was medication free in
Uh-huh.
my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the doctors that were looking after me just said that I wasn't typical, and they thought maybe I didn't need it.
Okay,
So
okay.
I did come off it all gradually, and I did 2 years, but ultimately it turns out I did. I didn't need
Oh,
it. So I went back on it. But you are right, there are side effects, and some of them are tough,
tough, right?
to deal with. I have really shaky hands, which is
Mm-hmm.
amusing given what I do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
Uh-huh.
fine work. But
Uh-huh.
oddly, even though I have really shaky hands, I just don't shake when I do pyrography,
Yeah.
and I don't really know why, but
Uh-huh.
I'm glad I don't.
Yeah,
But I do have very
yeah,
shaky hands in life. And the other one is memory. When you take psychiatric drugs, not all of them, the newer ones not necessarily, but the older ones, um, memory problems, short-term memories after a long time is quite common. And my memory is appalling. It's really bad.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very bad indeed. So, and that's been quite challenging when I've been doing just learning everything to do with having a small business. I've never done that before.
Mhm.
And I learn these things, and then I might not need that particular skill for 3 months, and I come
Mhm.
back to do it again, and I can't remember how to do it, and I have to learn it all again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm just curious, before you met this wonderful husband, uh, how did you survive? Or survive means how did you go through? Because you need money, no, and your economy. Yeah. So how
So
did you
I
cope?
worked I worked in retail. So
Retail.
I I I'd worked in retail before I had my daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
just as an assistant in a food store. And then I did that again. I started when she went to school. I
Mm-hmm.
started back part-time in a shop, and then I just worked my way up. So from an assistant to management,
Management.
and then but then I met my husband. I had a hysterectomy.
Mhm.
I managed to grow a rugby ball somehow, which I didn't want and shouldn't have been there. So I had to have it taken out. So I had a hysterectomy. And then after that, it just was, I really didn't want to go back into retail management. I had had enough. And I was fortunate then at that point because I had met my husband.
Mm.
So that's when I started to do pyrography. And oddly, I never spoke about my illnesses at all
Mhm.
the whole time I worked in retail because even though it's improving, I still feel like it possibly could hold you back, and it
Sure,
shouldn't.
sure, sure.
But I do feel like I think it probably could, and I always felt like it wasn't something I should do. And
Mhm.
then as soon as I didn't work in retail anymore, I felt so passionately that this was the time that I could talk. And because I worked for myself, it didn't matter anymore. I mean, you don't know where life's going to take you, but I didn't have any intention of going back to retail. And I just thought now is the time where I can talk, and I can talk to people, and hopefully help others, which I'd never felt like I had really done privately. I had
Mhm.
done, but not through anything I'd done in work. So
Oh,
I was
that's very
grateful.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Because in ancient times, like people used to like hide these things, no? But
Yeah,
luckily
they did.
nowadays, like even for people with uh, depression and all, even the specialists say like it's not a problem, no? It's kind of a thing that happens to, it can happen to anybody, no? Before even the
Yeah.
families would try to hide these kind of children or people, no? And because
Oh, definitely.
yeah, no?
And I've noticed as well, just from one generation, from my experiences to my daughter's experiences,
Hmm.
the people around her, her friends, her peers, they're all a lot more accepting than
Exactly.
I had when I was her age.
Mhm.
There's a big shift, and it's a good thing. It's a really
That's
good
a very
thing.
good thing.
Obviously a very positive thing and helpful. But then I think you, the younger generation, they are more accepting of difference, of all kinds of of difference. So
Mhm.
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
that's
really good.
wonderful. Because these are human beings, no? And
Yeah,
something
exactly.
happens, and they can how can they be discarded, no, from society or a family
Yeah.
unit or association, right?
Yes, of course.
uh, yeah. So, if I ask, please, yeah, sorry.
Right.
Uh-huh. So, what made you take the path of like artwork?
Okay, well, because I went to that holiday and I had that little lesson and that experience,
Uh-huh.
I can show you what I did in that lesson because it's on my desk.
Okay, wow.
I did this.
Uh-huh.
This is
Oh.
using
Uh-huh.
stencils. This is the very first thing I made at
Uh-huh.
the holiday.
So this
And
is clay or wood?
it's wood and
Wood.
it's the same method with a pyrography pen.
Uh-huh.
And that was what they were offering that you could make. And so that's what I made. And I keep it there just to
Yeah, yeah.
remind me. That's where I
Uh-huh.
started. That's good. And I just I loved it as a hobby, and so many people, because birthdays, Christmas, just generally, I would give people things, and so many people kept saying to me, "Oh, you should do this, you should do this," and I was like, "Well, I can't because I need to provide for my daughter. I have to,
Uh-huh.
like you said, I have to, pay the bills." And but then after I'd had my hysterectomy and I was tired of being in retail, it was stressful. I was tired, and he had said, "Oh, just do it. Just go for it." So I was like, "Okay, I will," and that is what happened. I did, and through lockdown, nobody was going out to work, and well, my husband did because he was in the care industry, but
Uh-huh.
a lot of retail just shut down.
Shut down.
So I wasn't going to work, and I didn't go back. So
Mhm.
I was one of those people that I actually handed my notice in before before lockdown, but never mind.
Mhm. And how nice not to do something what you really like and love to do, no?
Yeah, I do. I love it, and it's very therapeutic for me to do, which
Mhm.
I hope comes through. Like when you use a natural material and you're doing something that is really focused and calm and it feels nice and it's all of those things. I hope that the art that I produce, you get a sense of that looking back at you. I don't know whether that's
Mhm.
the case. I think so, but
Yeah.
that's what I try. I really try
Mhm.
to give people a bit of me and a bit of that,
Mhm.
coming through.
So, Joanna,
And
I
I always
heard
like to use
sorry.
things.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Uh-huh. No, no, continue what you were saying. I always like to.
Oh, I was just going to say I like to use things from nature because everybody always says, "Oh, go out into nature, go and see these lovely things." Not everybody can, not in the
Mhm.
same way. Not everybody has access to everything that I do, which is I'm lucky. The sea, the
Mhm.
beautiful countryside, the woods around the corner from my house, all of these amazing things. Not everybody has that.
Mhm.
Um, and I just want to have a little bit of that, like I use that. I like to use what I'm so fortunate to have near me and
Mhm.
put it into something that maybe other people can then have.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
I think if you put things around you that's natural, from nature
Mhm.
in and you just see it can lift your mood, and that's what I hope anyway.
Mhm. And I think you answered the question, but I heard the word, it's therapeutic to me, it's therapeutic to me couple of times in our discussion. Can you please explain to us more about that?
I have quite a busy brain, just naturally.
Uh-huh.
And, lots of people have a busy brain. I have a busy brain. And I find it tricky to focus on one thing or, to shut it down or whatever the thing is, or just chill out because I'm not particularly chilled as a person naturally. And when I sit down to do pyrography, when I have my pen in my hand, and it's hot and you have to be careful, and when I have a beautiful piece of wood and I have got a design that is natural, that is at the moment I'm at the very I keep looking to this side because it's right here, but I've got a piece with sycamore leaves on it that just landed on my front doorstep in the autumn. That was my inspiration for this. But when I sit there and I do that, I don't think about anything else. So the
Uh,
whole time that I am sitting creating that art on the wood, my mind is still. It's just there doing that. And that is very therapeutic. It's a very therapeutic thing to do. It's very helpful to just turn your brain down because I'm not very good at doing that when I choose to or when I want to. But just by creating pyrography for me is it
uh-huh.
takes all my concentration, so I can't think about anything else.
Okay, wonderful. So, uh, uh, so if we ask Joanna, uh, how would you like to help people with this? So I understand what you mean. For example, I was just thinking, no, if it's even an elderly person and they see your art, even a person who's like you in uh, senior citizen, no? Maybe they are
Mhm.
confronted to their house, but it can bring up good memories from the past also, no? When they see this, how they were with nature, it's like a glimpse from their past also, no? So,
Yeah.
how do you try to like take this more towards people, helping people? I know you
I
told
think
about you would like to speak openly about psychological disorders also in the future, or maybe from now on. No? So,
yeah. Well,
and
this
then,
is the first time I've done anything like this. So I
uh
don't know if
yeah,
I'm
so
nervous and it comes
from
across.
now on,
I'm
we can
sorry.
see, right?
But yes, definitely, I would very much like to use my pyrography art as a platform to be able to talk about mental health, and to talk about the specifics and non-specifics that have helped me along my way, both as somebody who has the mental health illness, but also someone who's cared for somebody who has an illness, which is, both are very different and they do feel very different as well. So I would love to use the platform for that and to be able to help others in any way I can. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go, but I'm open to anything like that can help. And the other side of it is obviously using my art to help other people just feel good. And that sounds really basic and really
Uh-huh.
um not that scientific or anything like that. It isn't. I just want to be able to create art that people look at and feel better just for a minute, just for that little brief moment when they see it. That is what I'd love to do. I'd love to be able to achieve that. I don't need a lot of money. I don't need a lot of things. Obviously, it's nice to have enough money to not have to worry about money, because that causes stress also. But I don't crave for lots of flash things. It's not really
Uh-huh.
me. Um, but I do like to have things around me that make me feel good and make me happy. And I do have them, really ridiculous things. Like I have a stone on my windowsill because it reminds me of something that happened that made me happy. It's a stone.
And as children also, we used to do that, no? And sometimes we go and if we not in a bad way, but sometimes we bring and put it in a fish tank or even keep as memorabilia. And
Mhm.
that brings like memories of that place, uh, particular place. So if we can go to like this natural art, which is it can bring no like so nice, or even looking at one of these, I think these should be in like places like hospitals or other places with children, or even many places as much as because we see so many artificial things now, and that also has an impact on our minds. No, the patterns of thinking, and
Yeah.
many, especially the new generation, they just want they are kept to be in like a virtual reality of things. But if
Hmm.
we can take them back to like real nature, and have experience through these kind of like art forms and these kind, it's a blessing, right?
Well, I think so. I do think that, and I think using natural materials and that what I use wood that I get from less than half an hour away from my house. Do you
Mm.
know? So I just and the smell and the feel. I really I love the feel of wood, and I like working on it, and all the different woods, they're slightly different to work on, and they produce a different outcome. And the smell, like when you're burning wood, obviously,
Mhm.
when you have a fire or whatever, well, when I'm burning wood, even at a tiny level of burn, so you can still smell.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. Because people burn even incense sticks, right? And these some are like very nice fragrant wood, right?
Yeah.
And that has a huge healing effect, even for the energy wise and lot of things, no?
As I'm a big fan. I
Uh-huh.
just fell in love with an art form, and I still am, and I always will be, no matter what happens to this particular journey. If I don't do it anymore and carry on just doing it for fun, I will always
Uh-huh.
use pyrography. I know that I will.
Uh-huh. And two more questions I just like to ask from you. So before that, like, how would you like to invite people to investigate this art form or even the new generation? How would you
Well, if
like to?
anybody wants to try to do it, then there are lots of ways that you can. I mean, you can pick up a pyrography unit for not a lot of money from lots of different places these days. It's quite popular. It became quite popular during COVID and lockdown. So you can have a go. And there's lots of people online that can help you, on YouTube and stuff like that. But
Uh,
then um, for me, I just
Maybe later you can be their mentor, later on if you like, or even
I can
start your
try. I'm still
courses.
learning. I think
Yeah,
you're
yeah, okay.
always learning.
Uh,
There's a lot I can still learn now. Sometimes when I sit down to do a piece and I want it to look a certain way and I don't know how to get that. So I have to learn how to do it as I'm going.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah. So, and then the next one will be where would you like to take this from here?
I think just if I can have my artwork in somebody's home that when they see it, it makes them happy. I feel like I've achieved my goal, my
Mm,
professional goal. I don't have huge goals to be rich and famous.
mm,
It's
mm,
not, I don't think I even want it. I don't want it. I would hate it. It's not what I want. Um, but to be able to sit here and think, you know, my art that I've created that I feel like other people might like and might want and might make them happy has done that.
mm,
That's
mm,
I would feel like I had achieved
mm,
and
mm.
I'm going in the right direction.
Oh,
That's what
wonderful.
I would like.
Uh, and Joanna, would you be doing like art exhibitions or something?
I have got I'm doing my first one in May. Um
Amen.
so
Uh-huh.
this piece that I'm doing now on this massive piece of willow,
Uh-huh.
um I'm doing this for an exhibition in
Exhibition.
Lostwithiel in Cornwall in a gallery called Lamb's Gallery. So
Okay.
that's the first one. So now I'm thinking, oh, don't mess this one up. Go somewhere.
So people can come and see
Yeah, yeah.
uh-huh. And surely we'll put the internet links and all, online links. And if they want, like they can come physically also and see your artwork.
Yes. I'm in a shop in Lostwithiel called Choughs.
Uh-huh.
It's just a little cooperative craft type shop, and I
Uh-huh.
have some of my things in there. and I go to a fair in Wadebridge.
Mhm.
So on a Thursday morning, I'm there. I go there because my parents live in Wadebridge and I get to see my
Uh-huh.
parents every week. So that's why I go there. But I'm there also.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. If possible, please give us those details. Then we can
Mm.
put so anybody in that region or no who is coming across that they can come and meet you, or maybe they are interested no in these kind of things, and then
Thank you.
they can discuss with you. Uh, and then finally,
Yes, definitely. I love it. I love having the conversations at the markets and the fairs.
okay. And then last, what in life, what would be like your ultimate goal? Because people have different goals, no? Some people, yeah, like you said, they want to be rich. Some people want to help people, no? Some people want to even become enlightened. Some people to unify with God. So likewise, I'm just asking. So, what would be like your ultimate goal in life?
I would like to have a happy, healthy family. If
Uh,
I can have that, then that's everything.
no.
That's, you know, we've been through some tough times and I would love to have some happy, healthy times ahead. That would be great.
Okay, then. So, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Joanna.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you so much for
yeah,
talking. It's
it
been
was so
lovely.
wonderful talking to you. And we are also so inspired by these natural things, natural remedies, or like practices, ancient philosophies, no, all these kind of things. And I definitely think we have to promote because we see a lot of things happening in the world now, and they seem so artificial, and it's definitely affecting the younger generation also, and definitely the adults also, no? You see many people with so many stress problems, lot of even some people uh, they are it's so hard for them to cope up because everything,
Mhm.
even the food, no, everything seems artificial now. So I think it's
And the
great.
pace as well.
Sorry.
Sorry, the pace of life is, so quick, and it never turns off. It never turns off with social media. It never turns off. Everybody has a phone from so young, and
Mhm.
it's so, full on.
And I
And
really
it's
like
not
the way
good.
you said, like at different points in your life, how you decided to take a different option in life. Maybe it was tough, but I also see this because people they complain sometimes or they are in difficulty, but they also have a part in that. Like for example, like in the sales sector, uh, if a person wants, they can stay there for and they can climb up the ladder, right? But some
Mhm.
people, while they're there, they say like, "Oh, it's this so stressful. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that." But you always have option, no, in life, and you can
Yeah,
take and do what you like also, right?
you can. And it's priorities as well. Like we do not have, uh, my husband and I, we don't have a lot of money, but we choose
Mhm.
not to, like I could go to work. I could, if I had to, I could. I don't. I do this. This is what I love to do. But
Mhm.
there's a knock-on effect, obviously, but like you say, you have choices, and time is something that you never get back. You
Mhm.
know,
Really.
you no, you can't get that back, and time is precious. It really, really is. Time with the people that you love.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much. And we'll definitely put all your details so anybody can contact. And if she started when her daughter was in a particular program and this led to all these things, this now it's like her life, uh, how to say, hobby or like even her passion in life. So why not for others also? No, so thank you so much, Joanna Underwood. It's a great pleasure to talk with you, and hopefully, we can meet again and discuss these kind of things. Or maybe you are ready to talk more about like even psychological things or like that. So we can have wonderful conversations in the future also. So thank
Lovely.
you so much. I wish you the very best, and maybe all be able to help more and more people on this wonderful journey. Thank you so
Thank
much. Have a great day.
you.
Yeah?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much.